Experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. Today is July 30th, 2020. And we're going to be talking about if you are like me and you like to have the occasional drink. Oh, who am I kidding? When I go out to drink, I drink. And you hate the way you feel. At my age, at 62, it takes me 2 days to unwind from any kind of alcohol. When I was young, I could drink all night and go out and run a marathon. I actually did that. I ran on Valentine's Day along Pacific Coast Highway. It was called the Love Run. It was the morning after Valentine's Day. I had been out drinking all night long, literally didn't even get any sleep. And I went and I ran. If I did that today, I'd stroke. But with that being said, if you do enjoy a cocktail from time to time and you hate the way you feel the next day, we have a remedy for you. And I guarantee that it works. And I'm going to tell you what I did to test it in just a moment. Then later in the show, many of us have been locked down for COVID. We're getting back into the gym again. And I never listened to other people's podcasts, but Ronnie Coleman was on Joe Rogan recently. And Ronnie said a couple things that were just kind of glossed over and then moved on that I interpreted as the right way to get back into the gym again. And if an 8-time Mr. Olympia does it this way, then it's probably good for us too. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. Of course, before we do that, I have to thank my title sponsor, Legendary Foods, who without them, this show would come to a screeching halt. If this show means anything to you, always patronize the sponsors because they make this show possible. And Legendary is our title sponsor. They have amazing snacks. If you are conscious of cutting back on sugar and carbs, you'll love everything at their website. They have decadent nut butters that have no sugar added, but taste so good. And of course, they have their tasty pastry, which is a Pop-Tart with 9 grams of protein, less than 1 gram of sugar, 3 to 4 impact carbs. So you can actually eat Pop-Tarts and feel good about it. Go to eatlegendary.com. Use code SHR10 and save 10% off your entire order. And I will bring my guest on now. Just takes me a second to do this. And that is Dziak from Pure Nootropics. They are a sponsor, but they're a sponsor on purpose. So a few months ago, I did a show with a group from USC that talked about a hangover drug that had wider benefits. Type 2 diabetics undergo some real changes, morphologies of the liver. And this hangover drug seemed to ameliorate all of them. And in fact, it was even said that this would be good for just average people to take to keep their livers in great shape. And I got in touch with Dan and I said, Dan, there's a hangover drug? The whole type 2 diabetes and good liver thing went over my head. I was like, we need to find somebody because apparently it really works. And so we solicited Pure Nootropics and they were kind enough to become sponsors of the show. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, Carl. Thanks for having me.
I can't hear you.
Oh, no. Can you hear me now?
Of course. So, yeah, no, I hear you real good. I can hear you.
All right.
There was just a little lag. That's all it was. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this compound, and it's called DHM. That stands for dihydromoracetam, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So when was it discovered, and was it touted originally as an anti-alcohol drug, or did it come into being with other aspirations?
So it's actually something that's been used in traditional Chinese medicine for a long time. And it is known in TCM as hangover remedy. And so it has been around for quite a long time. It comes from an extract of a Oriental raisin tree, basically. And so it's a natural compound that's been used for years and years for this. And we're just starting to find out about it on, the Western hemisphere, basically.
So this raisin tree, I mean, we know that raisins are made from dried grapes. Is this really a fruit-bearing tree? And does this compound come from the fruit itself?
I honestly don't know that, to be quite frank with you.
That's fine. So, so the study that the USC group did, you're well aware of it. Let's talk about that a little. What specifically were they looking for? And did they find that DHM does? That's an aside from being an anti-hangover drug.
So basically what they found is that DHM is very hepatoprotective, so it's very good for the liver. A lot of the research looks at the liver because that's where DHM is effective. And so what it's been shown to do and what it's really well known for doing is increasing the enzymes that your body uses to break down alcohol in your body. And that has also a kind of like a collateral benefit of increasing liver metabolism as well. And so what the USC study found is that there was a lot less, fat in the liver because
and this is also effective against non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I want to make sure that we don't confuse this as alcohol-driven fatty liver disease. These people, type 2 diabetes, don't necessarily drink alcohol.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so, there's a lot of reduced fat accumulation in the liver, which, is very, it is absolutely associated with alcohol consumption, is because it does affect the liver's ability to metabolize those fats and leads to accumulation. And so, in theory, that's the stuff that leads to things like cirrhosis and stuff like that. But what's interesting is that there's been rat studies, for example, and the rats that were given DHM were also shown to have higher levels of NAD plus than the ones that were in the control or fed ethanol, And so I know you've talked extensively about NAD plus and the implications for anti-aging. And so that's why DHM, originally touted as an anti-hangover, has become a little bit more mainstream because of its just general anti-aging and liver protective effects. So it's a really good supplement outside of its ability to address hangovers and alcohol recovery, basically.
So I put it to the test. We went to a friend's house, and I took one before and one after. And I don't know if that's the way it's recommended. I think most of the literature recommends taking it after going out drinking, and I can see why. You can definitely drink a lot more if you take it before. Right. So it's kind of counterproductive. If you're looking to go out and put a buzz on, this will make it a little bit more expensive to get that buzz on. So people may want to just take it after they go out to drink so they don't drink more. But I ended up drinking, we measured it. I ended up drinking 16 ounces of a very high quality tequila.
Whoa.
I had this sugar-free, like skinny margarita mix stuff.
Nice.
And I would just add the tequila to it in a rock glass, and I was drinking that. And I, first of all, drank 16 ounces of tequila and did not feel drunk. So remember, I took one when I got to the friend's house.
Okay.
And then we drove home, and I said to Elisa, I says, I drank a lot of tequila. I feel very sober. And she took it too, by the way. And she said the same thing. She says, I only had a couple drinks, but I don't feel them at all. And then I took one before going to bed that night. She did not. The next morning I woke up, I did not have the classic bleary-headed, gee, I feel like crap. I can't, I'm too wide awake to lay here, but I don't want to get up feeling that I usually get from drinking alcohol the morning after. And I definitely don't train. I don't go to the gym after drinking because I know that I'm going to injure myself because I don't feel myself. I don't feel good. And the truth of the matter is that I've been known to say, even on this show, that now at my age, it takes 2 days for me to go back to feeling normal after one night of drinking. I woke up that morning and I felt amazing. I felt good. I didn't feel like I had been drinking. And in fact, I did go to the gym that morning and I trained. And I said, man, this, like, there are so many supplements that I take that I know are working, but I don't necessarily feel them working. But I tell anybody out there who likes the occasional cocktail, adult beverage, that this is a must-have in your cabinet. Must-have. Because if you just take one after you drink, or if you want to do bookends like I did, one before and one after, you will not feel like you drank anything the day after. It's amazing. Do you imbibe? Do you drink at all?
Yeah, no, I absolutely do. And, the one thing I do want to say about DHM, like you talked about bookending it, and that's probably the more effective way to do it in terms of hangover prevention. This DHM is very, very safe in terms of toxicity levels and stuff like that, such that there's people that'll take like 300 mgs for every 2 or 3 drinks that they take. And the tricky part is what you said. And so that's kind of a disclaimer, is that, you may not feel as drunk as you would otherwise, and so you don't want to take it thinking that you're going to be fine to drive and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
that's a really good point. That's a really, really good point. And that's why I'm so cautious to say you can drink more, because the reality is your judgment may still be impaired, but maybe just not as much as it normally is, which may make you even more reckless because you feel like, oh, I feel fine, I can drive home.
Right.
And so, that's the caveat. Like, we're not recommending people take this before going out drinking and trash yourself and then drive home because this is going to keep you alert. Right. That's not the point. The point is, when we use the word intoxication, the word toxic is there. What I'm most fascinated about this compound, and I'm hoping that it's looked on to see what downstream metabolic changes it blunts that are associated with alcohol consumption, like post-workout protein synthesis. We know that if you go to the gym and you train like an animal, and that night you go out with your boys and you drink, you basically negated the stimuli for new muscle tissue by that going out and drinking. Like, I would love to see what happens when you use DHM before and after drinking, and look at the anabolic window the next day and look at the protein synthetic response of people who didn't drink versus people who drank and used DHM versus people who drank and used a placebo, and see if, in fact, this blunts that downregulation of protein synthesis. Because I have a feeling it does, because it's getting that alcohol out of your system faster.
Absolutely. And the other thing to kind of jump onto that is it has been shown in rat models, at least, to increase the metabolism in the liver itself. And so it's absolutely having an effect there. And so I'm intrigued by your statements in terms of whether that would negate the lack of stimulus from working out, and drinking. Basically, that's fascinating idea. And it's something absolutely worth looking into, like you and I discussed previously.
The other thing to look into is thyroid function. So we know that alcohol causes weight gain, specifically fat gain, through some other mechanism than exclusively the calories of alcohol, the sugar content of alcohol. We know that alcohol impairs thyroid function. We know that alcohol literally will shut down thyroid hormone output, but it also seems to blunt the conversion of T4 to T3. So it probably makes people gain weight because A, their metabolism isn't running at 100% because thyroid hormone is just not working right. And B, the added calories. A single drink maybe has got 300 calories. You put down,
Right.
3 of them, you got 900 calories in your belly. Okay. But we know that it's not just the calories from alcohol, because I have a good friend who only drank bourbon. And so bourbon is not a high calorie drink.
Okay.
But he gave up alcohol at Christmas time this year, and he's lost 23 pounds, and he hasn't done anything different. So there's something else. There's something else. Yeah, well, there's something else that alcohol does to make people gain weight. I would love to see that study done, where we take the same approach, where we have a placebo, a control, and non-drinkers, and we just look at it and go, wow, the drinkers who took the DHM didn't gain the weight that the drinkers who didn't take anything at all did, or that took the placebo.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that because there is a lot of effects that alcohol has, and the idea of the DHM is basically to metabolize it faster, give you more of the enzymes that break up the acetaldehyde, the bad stuff that causes all the toxicity in the body. And so you get the enzymes that are basically attacking it right away. And that's why like the bookend approach seems to be the most effective in terms of addressing alcohol consumption, basically.
Do you think that there are other enzymes? Has anyone looked at any other enzymes that are upregulated in the liver in response to DHM consumption? Because there are some other things that have taken place since when I use it. And I use it every weekend now because I like to have a drink. I like to have a glass of wine, and I take it just for a glass of wine. I don't take it because, I'm going to go out and really pound it tonight. If I'm having a glass of wine, I'll take it because I don't want any of those effects to compromise. I noticed that I get a real dry mouth when I take it. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, a little bit, definitely. I mean, alcohol is kind of dehydrating, right? And so like what we've seen is when we started looking at products to address alcohol or hangover recoveries, you look at a lot of the products on the market, most of the most effective ones have DHM as your primary ingredient. And then what they're doing is they're adding a bunch of
B vitamins, amino acids, electrolytes. It's like, I've said that all the anti-hangover cures that are amino acids, electrolytes, and B vitamins, they do nothing.
No, unless they're paired with DHM, and it's really the DHM is the heavy lifter of the formula. They're just piggybacking on that one ingredient. Let's sprinkle a couple more things that everybody's heard of, a couple of aminos, nutrients, like and it becomes a unique selling proposition for them. Whereas us, the science shows that DHM is where the efficacy is at. And that's why we decided, let's just do a straight DHM capsule and let people buy that if they want. We do have another product that has DHM with some of those micronutrients, but for us, it's a more popular product because people want to kind of do it themselves. And so, you can just buy straight DHM, and that's, good enough for most people.
I'm sorry. You can get DHM from Pure Nootropics. We have a special URL set up. It's SHR Network, SHRNetwork.biz/DHM. If you use the code SHR10, you'll save 10% off. It's a very inexpensive supplement to begin with. And the bottle is filled to the top. I mean, one of the things I like about all of your products, there's a certain dishonesty in slack filling things. You get this big jar. I mean, even what's that company we buy products from online? Not Vitamin Shop, but anyway, you get this big bottle. You open it up, you pull the wad of cotton out, and literally they could have filled the bottle halfway more, and it would have been to the top. I opened the DHM up, and the first capsule actually fell out when I opened it up. It's like, you fill your bottles all the way up. There's little things like that I notice. It's a certain level of honesty this bottle is filled. This is what you're getting. You don't open it up and go, oh, great. The third of the bottle is filled and everything else is empty.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, one of our focuses has always been quality, and so really when we started the company in 2013, so not too long ago, there's a lot of, as supplement companies out there that are not giving you what they say is in the capsule, and so as supplement users ourselves, we wanted to basically put the best quality ingredients in our body. So what we've worked hard to do is utilize third-party testing a lot. I mean, we basically test everything that comes in, and then we formulate our products based on the clinicals and the appropriate dosages and stuff like that need to be made so that those match the clinicals, and then we can kind of make claims, and that's all part of GMP, good manufacturing practices, and kind of what we got to do to adhere to. We don't want to make claims that are not substantiated in any way. And so like a lot of the products that we go after are things that have science backing up their efficacy. Like we generally don't want to release anything that doesn't have some science supporting its efficacy in some way,
I want to just put this up here. So whoever posted this, if you could post your name next, I'd appreciate it. Because your security settings on Facebook for some reason do not allow your screen name to come through. But this Facebook user says, oh man, I didn't know alcohol affected your thyroid. I knew that sugar affected weight gain, but I guess I didn't realize it affected thyroid function. I have hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's disease. Okay, so I just was messaging with a gal who has Hashimoto's disease this morning. Hashimoto's disease is an autoimmune disorder. What you should really try is one of the highly restrictive elimination diets, either keto or carnivore, for 2 weeks. You'll find out your Hashimoto's disease will start to go away. Hashimoto's disease is when your immune system attacks and it literally destroys your thyroid, and your thyroid doesn't function any longer because of the collateral damage to the tissue. You got to get on that, because that only gets worse. It doesn't stop and it doesn't get better. The only way that it'll stop and maybe get better is to eliminate the foods that your body thinks look like thyroid tissue and are attacking your thyroid. That's the only way for it to do it. So, and yes, it's not the alcohol. I mean, it's not the sugar in alcohol, but it's actually alcohol itself that seems to have an effect on the production of thyroid hormone in general. And that could even be through an estrogen pathway, because we know that alcohol affects estrogen, and estradiol specifically is required for thyroid production in the thyroid and thyroid hormone binding in the thyroid. So yeah, if you are going to drink, you should stick to white alcohols if you can, like vodka and gin and stuff like that. And really, you need to look at one of those elimination diets, like the carnivore diet or the keto diet, and you'll find out probably in just a couple of weeks, you'll start feeling different. And it's easy to do that. It's easy to do carnivore because you have a little cheese here and there, but I mean, it's chicken and fish and meat and eggs. And it's like, just stay away from the plant-based stuff for a couple weeks and watch what happens to your Hashimoto's disease. So Zach, whenever something becomes popular, a particular compound, we start to see counterfeits entering the market. Now this stuff works. If I took a counterfeit product, I'd know right away because I'd wake up in the morning and I'd feel horrible. But do we have to worry about that yet with DHM? Is it becoming so popular that people are going to stop be putting out questionable raw materials?
I mean, I think that's always going to happen. I don't know if it's necessarily a raw material issue because it seems to be pretty widely available from like our suppliers and stuff. But what happens is you get some supplement companies that may not be validating their blending, they're underfilling or, underdosing the proper amount of active. And so there's there's quite honestly a lot of ways for supplement companies to cut corners. And so it, with the popularity of a particular product, it's just inevitable that it will eventually happen that you have somebody that's like, hey, I can come out here, do half dose, say it's a full dose, and come in and on price. And so there's I'm sure you've heard of like Labdoor and some of those companies that will go and test a bunch of supplements, and you see that there are a lot of bad actors out there in this industry, unfortunately, and so it's just inevitable. When you look at the hangover relief market, it's a mega market and it's not shrinking in size. It's just getting bigger. And so it's inevitable that somebody's going to do that. Like what we've started to see is that there's a lot of products coming out that don't have the appropriate amount of DHM in it. So they'll throw some DHM with a bunch of other stuff, and that might be effective enough for some people if they take 3 or 4 capsules, but it's not the most value for your money, really.
I don't care who you are. If you have the occasional drink, if you like to go out with your wife or your husband and have a bottle of wine at dinner on Saturday night, date night, this is a must-have. There's no reason to drink alcohol and feel bad at all the next day any longer. No more. It just doesn't have to. Here's the cue. In Ireland, when I was in Ireland, John Bolger, who took us on a tour, he listens to the show. He lives in Ireland. Elisa and I went there a few years ago, and he took us all around, and we were actually talking about this. I said, so in Ireland, they actually call alcoholism the disease. They don't call it alcoholism because everybody drinks a few pints. Right. John doesn't. John is like super healthy, superhuman, yoga, eats raw eggs. And the guy is like, he's going to live forever. And he tells me, he goes, most of the people I know, 2, 3, 4 pints a day. Like, that's just the way it is. And he said they actually call it the disease. And I said, wouldn't it be great to come out with an anti-hangover drug and call it the cure? And like we were literally talking about this. Well, here it is. This is the cure. There's no reason to drink alcohol and suffer the negative effects. You can still get the buzz. You can still feel lubricated. You become more talkative. You're the life of the party. It's just that you don't have to feel like crap the next day anymore. This is a very inexpensive supplement. Everybody should have this in their drawer. You may have a friend come over one night for dinner and they're big drinkers, and say to them, hey, take this before you start drinking, and then take this one when you get home. And they'll call you the next day and they'll go, man, that is the best thing. I feel fantastic today. And you can show them that you don't have to feel bad and drink alcohol. Go to the website, shrnetwork.biz, shrnetwork.biz/DHM. Use the code SHR10 for 10% off. There's a lot more going on over at Pure Nootropics, a lot more. This is a great product. Yes.
I wanted to tell you, Carl, like what we're going to do too is for the next week or two, we're going to give with the same code 20% off of the product. We really want people to try it because we know that once you try it, it's hard to go back. It really is, so.
Sorry about that. The music cues up on its own now. I run this like a real radio station. So anyway, like if you're getting ready to go to Cancun for the, you're getting the deluxe suite with the bottles upside down in the closet where you just go put, like, you got to take DHM with you. You got to take it every day. You got to take it twice a day. Go and party. You'll feel like partying the next morning. You'll wake up. You'll be clear-headed. This is a must-have. This is one of those. The way you keep aspirin in your home, you need to keep DHM in your home too. We're going to take a quick commercial break because there's a lot more going on over at Pure Nootropics. When you hear, you're going to fall in love because it's like Christmas morning for those of us who want to improve brain function. Stay tuned.
Unlock your potential with the best cognitive enhancement and anti-aging supplements on the market. PureNootropics.net goes the extra mile for the highest quality ingredients, third-party tested to make sure you only receive the best your money can buy. There's no better choice with their money-back guarantee and free shipping. Try their best-selling DHM. Dihydromyricetin prevents hangovers and helps deliver detox after a night of drinking. Get your DHM and other nootropics and longevity supplements from PureNootropics.net, the purest supplements around.
Quest Nutrition makes bars, cookies, chips, and pizzas out of complete dairy-based proteins. Our products minimize net carbs and sugar without sacrificing taste. Each delicious chocolate-flavored chip, cookie chunk, and crunchy crumble is custom made to maintain Quest macros. It's time to enjoy foods that work for you, not against you. It's time to enjoy your Quest.
Do you remember those delicious toaster pastries you had when you were a kid? You know, the rectangular sugar-filled snacks? Well, guess what? Legendary Foods has just made low-carb toaster pastry. This is the first of its kind, and honestly, these things are amazing. They have 3 to 4 net carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 9 grams of protein. You can eat them right out of the wrapper or lightly toast them. The only question is, which flavor, strawberry or brown sugar cinnamon? They're available at eatlegendary.com and Amazon. Chronic stress leaves us tired, distracted, and physically vulnerable. Apollo Neuro is here to help you take control. Apollo Neuro is a new wearable that trains your nervous system to be more resilient to stress. Apollo's gentle vibrations use your sense of touch to help you recover from stress, going from fight or flight to rest and digest so you can relax, get to sleep, focus, and stay healthy. Developed by physicians and neuroscientists, Apollo Neuro has been tested in multiple clinical trials and is proven to improve heart rate variability, the key biometric of stress. Special offer for friends of Superhuman Radio. Try Apollo Neuro today and get 15% off your purchase at apolloneuro.com/superhuman. That's APOLLONEURO.com/superhuman. Select Savory Snacks Original Biltong is the healthier alternative to sugar-laden beef jerky. Their sugar-free biltong is seasoned and then air-dried for up to 2 weeks, providing you with one of the most tender and flavorful meat snacks that you've ever had. They also use a fattier cut of beef, which adds to the tenderness and gives their biltong even better flavor. Select Savory Snacks Original Biltong is the perfect snack or travel companion for your busy life. Get a free bottle of Ranch-tastic seasoning with every order. Free shipping on orders of $99 or more. Get yours today at selectsavory.com/SHR. Over 11 million people in the U.S. have some form of retinal damage, also known as macular degeneration. This is expected to double to nearly 22 million by 2050. Artificial blue light, age, type 2 diabetes are all contributors. Doctors say there's no cure. ARMED is changing that opinion. In one clinical trial, 93% of patients had arrested or improved their condition. 54% reported lessening of glare, reduced dryness, and improved clarity and comfort. And 0% felt worse during treatment and no side effects. Take control of your macular degeneration or keep it from ever occurring. Go to wisechoicemedicine.com and get armed today.
This is the Superhuman Channel, doing reps with the weight of the world.
Welcome back. We're talking with Chris Dziak from Pure Nootropics. So when Pure Nootropics first came aboard and I visited their website, I was like, oh my God, like, where do I start? Because we're all serious about improving brain function, cognitive function, focus, whether it's because your job, whether it's because you're about to go in and crush it in the gym. We all know that we can now do things to our brain to make it function better and faster. And if you're one of these people who's like, what can I do to take my brain to the next level? The first thing you can do is go to the website purenootropics.com, because they're literally every single compound you've ever heard about that has been shown in scientific studies to be efficacious in increasing cognition, improving memory function, improving focus, or even just relaxing the brain so you can focus. They've got it all. And here's the best part. They're like a raw material kind of a company. Like they very, very standard labels, standard bottling, standard capsules, and pricing that doesn't break the bank. Some of these compounds are very expensive. If you shop some of these other websites, you think, oh my God, I got to pay $150 a month for this one thing. And it's not that way when you get to purenootropics.com, because they really are kind of like direct to the end user without the middleman markup type stuff, because everything that they have is reasonably priced. Everything. What's your best seller for nootropics for people like me? How old are you, Chris?
I'm 36. I know it doesn't look like it because of the gray hair, but
Yeah, no. So I mean, but you're old enough to appreciate, like, man, I just don't have the mental capacity that I had before. And what's your favorite product?
oh, like it kind of depends on what I need for that day. So one of the products I like a lot that is kind of underrated in my opinion is something called solbutamine.
Oh yeah,
And
sure.
it's like a synthetic thiamine that was designed
Yep.
by the Japanese during World War II to cross the blood-brain barrier better. And it's really cool because it gives you energy and it gives you kind of like a nice mood too. And so solbutamine's nice. It's actually like one of those ones that is also maybe like a sexual improvement supplement as well.
Everybody's
So-
going to buy it now.
Right? Yeah.
That's what you're going to do. Talk about that. Oh yeah, it makes sex better. It makes you bigger
Right.
and harder.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to get that.
And so I like that one quite a bit. And then, like a lot of the stuff that I'll take regularly is cholinergics. Choline is a precursor to the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, right? And so we sell quite a few different types of cholinergics, but I mean, from a cognitive enhancement perspective, that's one of the areas where most people are going to get benefit because, as that's choline is one of the areas of deficiency that's very common among people. And that, that's why like some of the things that we sell, like magnesium, it's to correct deficiencies, because if you have a deficiency and you address it, you're going to feel markedly better in terms of cognition.
Well, there was just a study that I talked about on the show a few weeks ago that looked at, it was a review of like 6,000 other papers, and they were looking at the things that have the greatest effect on Alzheimer's disease onset. And one of the things they listed were anticholinergic drugs, which are used quite often for a variety of different conditions. I even think that one of the antihistamine drugs that's used over the counter for people who have like constantly stuffy noses is actually an anticholinergic drug. And these drugs have been shown to really trigger the onset of Alzheimer's disease. So exactly what you're saying is accurate, because they've already identified anticholinergic drugs as causing brain problems.
Right. And like a lot of the products so like we carry some race TAMs and stuff like that. And there's honestly a lot of good clinical data that basically show that those products interact with they're thought to increase uptake of acetylcholine and glutamate in the brain and things like that. And so they've been studied very extensively for their use in, Alzheimer's models and stuff like that. As a supplement company, we can't make any claims related to that, but there is use of some of these items in other countries specifically for cognitive disorders. We can't make claims that we're selling it for anything like that, but I mean, it is legitimately used in other countries for those purposes.
If people go do their homework, which most people who are interested in taking nootropics are fairly intelligent about nootropics. They go and they read the boards, they read the studies, they go, wow, this is what I want. So if you're somebody who studies nootropic compounds and you're convinced that these two are really the ones you want to start with, go to purenootropics.com. Can they still use the SHR 10 code site-wide, or is that just for...
I'm pretty sure they can. And what I'll do is I'll make it site-wide otherwise. So
okay. So
now's
if
the time, guys. 20% off for the next week.
So if you use the URL shrnetwork.biz/DHM, that'll get you to the DHM page, and then you can shop out from there. And if you use the code SHR10, you'll not only get the 10% off, but the 20% off. So stock up. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try this albutamine. I've heard a lot of good news about it. In fact, the pharmaceutical industry wanted to actually take a couple B vitamins off the market because of salbutamine. They wanted to corner the market on this particular B vitamin. They were blocked. This is about 10 years ago. It's an interesting compound. So here's an interesting question for you. A lot of people in my audience, including me, are trying to eliminate our dependence on caffeine. Caffeine is an interesting nootropic, but it has horrible long-term side effects that nobody wants to pay attention to because the studies go, oh, it's good for you, it's good for you. If I didn't want to use caffeine anymore, but I wanted to feel awake, aware, would I use salbutamine and something else? What would you do?
Salbutamine is really good. We kind of like, so there's a couple other products that are stimulants that, so like one of them is called teacrine. Teacrine's an alkaloid that structurally looks a lot like caffeine and acts very similarly to it. It is a stimulant, but what's interesting is there's been studies that have looked at caffeine combined with teacrine or theacrine, and it basically has like a synergistic effect. But if you're trying to cut out caffeine, teacrine in itself could be for that. And so there's some other stuff that, and it, the weird thing with supplements, and I'm sure you know this, is that everybody's different. And so what works for me may not work for you.
Right.
And so, like Alcar, acetyl L-carnitine.
Yeah.
Some people say that that's stimulating, you know what I mean? And so it's like, really look at what works for you. And that's part of one of the things that we've tried really hard to do is we give a 30-day money back guarantee. So you can try something. If you don't like it, get your money back if it doesn't work for you. We genuinely want you to find stuff that works for you because we know that once you do, you're going to continue to use that supplement going forward. And so we ultimately want you to just have the best experience possible. That's why we do free shipping, third-party testing, and have a money-back guarantee.
Yeah, that's very cool. What are the top 5 sellers when it comes to nootropics?
So like of the nootropic compounds, you're going to have your racetams. So like the popular ones are aniracetam and phenylpiracetam. And phenyl it's very effective. It does have a stimulant-like property to it. And it's so good and effective that it's banned by WADA in pretty much every major sporting competition. You can't take phenylpiracetam if you're going to be doing that. And so like, if you're an athlete that competes in any way, like you got to stay away from phenylpiracetam.
Okay.
But so like those are real popular. And then, PEP. New PEP is a peptide that's very popular. It's been around a long time. There's a lot of clinicals, and that's a very popular product. And then, as I said, we carry different cholinergics. The most popular two are going to be your acetylcholine and your alpha GPC, because those are your best forms of choline in terms of bioavailability. I like acetylcholine quite a bit because it metabolizes and turns into uridine too. So you're getting a little bit of, a cholinergic along with some uridine, which has some really nice benefits as well, depending on the individual. And so that's pretty popular. And then we've started selling like mushroom extracts, a lot of different plant extracts. And what we try and do is go with company like branded ingredients, because these are companies that, basically they make all of their value is on their brand. And so they have a lot of incentive to keep quality controls and quality assurance under tight controls, so that you're getting a really good quality product. And
Sabinsa was like that. Sabinsa did that early on. You know who Sabinsa is? They came out with standardized curcumoid, their C3 curcumin. Right. That was standardized. People knew that if it was a Sabinsa C3, you knew exactly what was in it.
Yeah, we actually sell the Sabinsa product. And they're one of the vendors that we work with, and so when we're trying to find our goal is cognitive, right? So like we start looking at products that have some effect cognitively, and then we go after, one of the best available. And so, for example, we carry KSM 66 ashwagandha. It's one of the better ones. There's really only two major brands, and it's KSM and Sensoril. Beyond that, all the other stuff that you're getting on the market, it may not be as high of a quality of product, because KSM, they're standardizing. So they're doing, multiple ratio extracts in a lot of cases so that they can hit a certain amount of active, in the extract. And so in our perspective, they've done a lot of the heavy lifting. They're paying to do a lot of the clinicals and stuff like that. So we typically try and go after the better quality ingredients once we launch a product. And so, to the extent that there exists a branded version that is markedly better, we'll go after that. But that isn't always the case. So like some of our stuff doesn't use branded ingredients, but we ultimately try and source the best quality materials. And so, for example, we have a sleep product, and we don't just go and use some like generic valerian root. We're using like a valerian root that's standardized to have, a certain amount of valerianic acids and stuff like that. And same with the lemon balm that's in there to have a certain amount of rosmaric acid and stuff like that. So we're absolutely trying to provide really good quality and do it at a price that is competitive in the market, and oftentimes much, much more affordable than our competitors.
And you know what I like? So like a lot of us want to be our own mad scientists. Like I could see me getting the new pep, maybe the alpha GPZ or the acetylcholine. I could get the salbutamine, and like experiment with like, okay, I'm going to take all of these this morning, see what I would take 3 of them. I mean, that's what I really like, coming up with a precision product that works for me, because I can buy these raw materials individually encapsulated already. That's what I like.
I'm glad you said that, Carl. That's actually one of the reasons that we do things the way we do. Is that like, you look at the products on the market, and there's a lot of blended products that contain 50 ingredients.
And they're proprietary, so you don't even know how much of anything that's in there.
That's also true. And the better companies will open source their label, but at the same time, there's companies like Qualia that make a nootropic product, and overall it's a pretty good nootropic product. I'm not gonna bash it in any way. It's just, it has so many ingredients. You don't know if you're gonna be a non-responder, or worse, a negative response to a particular ingredient in there, right? Mm-hmm. And so what we've done is, if you go and you look at a lot of the most popular nootropic stacks on the market, is a stack, is just a combination of stuff. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We carry a lot of those individual ingredients, so that you can basically buy the individual ingredients and build your own stack that's going to be most effective for you. And so, for example, is phenylpiracetam, to bring that up again, is when you look at the message boards and stuff like that, there's a lot of people that are just completely non-responsive to it. You know what I mean? And so it's not going to be effective to them. And likewise, there's a lot of people that'll take something like ashwagandha and have kind of a negative effect with like lethargy and stuff like that. And so there might be ways to counteract it, or we were talking about hyperthyroidism and stuff like that. Like ashwagandha interacts with thyroid hormones, and so you may not want to take that if you have thyroid issues, Right. And so that's why we've tried
you can assemble your own nootropic blend. That's just, and name it after yourself, and that's it. Right. That's it. That's your blend. That's it.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Because like what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. But if you can find what works for you, you're gonna notice an improvement, And the other thing is too, that I want to just mention, is that we have a pretty extensive knowledge base on our website. And we're always of the philosophy that if you want to get cognitive enhancement, you can absolutely do it through supplements. But, the things that you preach, like exercise, eating right, getting good rest, those are the main things. Everybody, a supplement isn't going to address those issues entirely, but if you're not getting enough sleep, then maybe take a sleep supplement and get a little.
I want to talk about, and that's what I want to talk about. I want to take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about the sleep side of your website.
Sure, yeah.
The things that help people get better rest. So if you want to take advantage of this offer today, you can go to the website shrnetwork.biz/DHM. That URL will take you to the Pure Nootropics website. It'll land you on the DHM page, so you can order that. Use the code SHR10 for a limited time. It'll actually get you 20% off. Then once you've done that, stroll around the website, fill your card up, and take that 20% off everything. I know you're going to see an order coming from me this weekend. I'm going to assemble my own nootropics. I really want to give up caffeine, and I'm having a very, very hard time doing it because I've used very large doses of caffeine for 2 decades now. Right. And every time I try to get off of it, I crash and burn, and I have to go get some caffeine. So I'm going to try and turn to the nootropic blends and see if I can once and for all wean off of caffeine. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Superhuman Radio. We're going to talk about the things that'll help you sleep better. I love beef. And if you love beef, listen up. I've discovered the best tasting beef in the world, and that's not an exaggeration, at Piedmontese.com. The Piedmontese breed is famous from Italy for being lean and unbelievably tender with half the fat and calories of traditional beef. Even typically tough cuts are tender when it comes from the Piedmontese cows. And for the first time ever, Piedmontese cows are being raised here in the USA. Get 2 free 10-ounce New York strips when you purchase $50 or more at Piedmontese.com with code SHR. Go to Piedmontese.com and use code SHR today. You will never eat any other type of beef ever again.
Unlock your potential with the best cognitive enhancement and anti-aging supplements on the market. PureNootropics.net goes the extra mile for the highest quality ingredients, third-party tested to make sure you only receive the best your money can buy. There's no better choice with their money-back guarantee and free shipping. Try their best-selling DHM. Dihydromyricetin prevents hangovers and helps deliver detox after a night of drinking. Get your DHM and other nootropics and longevity supplements from PureNootropics.net, the purest supplements around.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at Synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
Planet Earth CBD offers a fast-acting transdermal patch that targets your aches and pains for the relief you need. Not only is the patch uniquely patented, but it is widely believed to provide larger quantities of available cannabinoids to the source of pain than other brands' subpar products. Effective for 24 to 48 hours. Experience the benefits of Planet Earth's high-quality transdermal patch. Manufactured by Next Generation Technology in an FDA-registered facility. This pressure-sensitive adhesive delivers rich hemp extract directly through the skin. Be it a neck ache or a headache, you can count on CBD to take off the edge. Go to PlanetEarthCBD.com today to learn more.
There's no denying that a low-carb, low-sugar keto lifestyle has been shown to reverse chronic inflammation and normalize insulin sensitivity. But we all want a sweet snack from time to time. Well, no matter what you're looking for, you'll find it at Perfect Keto. Bars, cookies, exogenous ketones, keto-friendly performance enhancers, it's all in one place. I love their chocolate quad ketone salts that balance all 4 minerals. And try their keto bars for unique taste satisfaction, all the while knowing you're staying in your keto lifestyle lane. Go to perfectketo.com/superhuman to save 20% off your purchase today. Are you still on the fence about Body Protection Complex BPC Oral from drseeds.com? Listen to Maggie Kuhn, one of the owners of the C-Bus Lifting Company gym in Columbus, Ohio.
I had been having some nagging tendon issues that weren't injuries, just things that were annoying. You know, I'm 58 years old, so just older tendon kind of issues. For us powerlifters, we really don't stop training when we have just nagging issues. We just kind of keep pushing through. And I started the BPC. What I noticed was I was doing some heavy tricep stuff that would have killed me before when I had an elbow problem, and I was able to do those with literally no pain at all.
Go to drseeds.com, drseeds.com. Use coupon code SHR and save 20% off your bottle of BPC Body Protection Complex today.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. Don't hate us because we feel good.
So later in the show, we're going to talk about something I learned from watching a recent Joe Rogan show about Ronnie Coleman that I think Joe kind of just glossed over it. I don't know why. Maybe he had a lot of questions, but I would have dug deeper if I had Ronnie on the show. But I got a lot from it. And it's about getting started back in the gym. A lot of us have been off for a while because of COVID.
Right.
And even Ronnie had a way to get back into it once he was off for a while. And I think we can learn a lot from him. After all, he was an 8-time Mr. Olympia. So, the guy knows how to build muscle. Talk about sleep. Sleep is probably one of the largest problems in America today. People either don't get good sleep or they don't sleep at all. And it's leading to a variety of diseases. What are some of the top selling sleep supplements on your website?
So we don't really have a whole lot of options to be honest with you, or like what the one of the few products that we created a blend out of, and it's an open source blend, so you know exactly what's in it, is our sleep product. And basically it has L-tryptophan, which is a precursor to 5-HTP, which is a precursor to
melatonin, serotonin, melatonin, right? Exactly.
Right. And so we even throw in some melatonin in there because melatonin is super effective in the sleep supplement. And then we have L-theanine because, L-theanine's a really nice anxiolytic. It kind of, right? And so
it relaxes you. Yeah.
Right. And so all of the ingredients that are in our sleep stack have been studied either individually or in combination and shown to have either efficacy in terms of helping you fall asleep, stay asleep, or wake up not super groggy. Because that's one of the big critiques about a sleeping aid is that you wake up and you're not really awake,
Right.
And so our product is all natural and basically contains all that stuff, with the addition of lemon balm and valerian, which has been studied in a combination. And the nice thing that I didn't mention is that on our website, we put all of the claims that we have, like the combination of lemon balm and valerian root may promote better sleep quality. We provide you the reference to the study that was based on. So that if you want, you can dig. You're more than welcome to do that. But maybe the other two things, and one of these is kind of a red herring, is we have magnesium glycinate in there. And so magnesium for about 80% of people is effective in that product. But there's just a handful of people that have the opposite reaction where taking magnesium is stimulating for them. I suspect that they may have a magnesium deficiency because magnesium is responsible for so many metabolic processes in the body, and so if they have a deficiency, they may not react the same way. But most people that take magnesium are going to have the benefit of being able to fall asleep quicker and stay asleep for longer.
So, and the other nice thing about magnesium glycinate is that it's attached to glycine, and glycine has been shown to increase GABA in the brain. So there's that relaxing, calming effect. In fact, I know a lot of people that use a couple, 3 grams of glycine for social anxiety. You just put it in the cheek of your mouth, let it dissolve, and you just chill out from it. So that's the other added value there. So Danny Okundo, who watches the show from not Brazil, I'm sorry, Colombia. Thank you. He says, what about Delta sleep-inducing peptide? DSIP has to be injected, Danny, and they don't sell injectable stuff at this website. And also, DSIP is very misunderstood. You have to take it in the morning for it to work. People take it before bed, and it wrecks their sleep. Everybody that I know that's used DSIP has said, I took it an hour before sleep, and it wrecked my sleep. I did it 3 days in a row, and I had crap sleep for 3 days in a row. Take it first thing in the morning and watch how deep you sleep that night. DSIP has a rhythmicity to it. So taking it right before sleep will actually wreck your sleep. I learned this from Dr. William Seeds, who, when he was the head of the International Peptide Society. And every time I've told somebody, take your DSIP first thing in the morning and you'll sleep better, and they've trusted me and tried it, they go, I can't believe that's how it works, because it does. But that's not available at this website, because that's an injectable peptide. So I'm going to put up the link one more time, which is the reason we did today's show. But I'm telling you that once you get to the website, please shop around. DHM is something everybody should have in their home, along with aspirin. And it's because you will drink someday, or people will drink at your home, or you'll go out to dinner and want to have a couple glasses of wine, and there is zero reason to feel bad the next day. There's zero reason to even if you're somebody who says, well, I just feel a little bit bad. You don't even have to even feel a little bit bad. If you're one of those people who metabolizes alcohol fast, the rest of us don't. If you go to the link shrnetwork.biz/DHM and you use the code SHR10, you'll actually get 20% off not only your DHM, but anything else that you buy there. And I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to put together a stack this weekend, and I'm going to try one because I really do want to give up caffeine. And I think I can if I get the right mix of nootropics. Listen, I want to thank you for two things. I want to thank you for being a sponsor of the show, number one. And I want to thank you for talking about this stuff today. I think this is all fascinating. I love the idea of alchemy. I love the idea of buying this, buying that, and stacking it and going, oh, that feels good. And then adding something or taking something away, go, oh, that feels even better. Like, that's what I want. I don't want someone to just give me a blend that's got 6,000 things in it. Like you said, I don't know what's working. I don't know what's not. I'd rather be able to experiment with individual compounds and then use them synergistically and see which one works and which one doesn't. So thanks,
exactly.
Chris.
Thank you, Carl. It's a pleasure. You have a good one.
And we'll talk again soon. We're going to take one quick commercial break. And when we come back, I am going to talk about what I learned from Ronnie Coleman about getting back into the gym after a long layoff. Stay tuned. We shall return. Everybody wants to feel better, be healthier and happier. If you don't sweat profusely on a regular basis, you won't feel as good as you could. Studies have shown the power of infrared sauna. Infrared penetrates 1 to 2 inches into the body. It helps those with back pain, fibromyalgia, arthritis, depression, and anxiety. Patients get relief from infrared sauna. The Good Health Sauna has been shown to be an exercise mimetic, conveying many of the same benefits as cardio. There are a lot of reasons people buy a Good Health sauna. But the bottom line is you will be a much happier, healthier person by using the Good Health Sauna every day. You'll crave it, you'll love it, and it will be the best purchase you have ever made. Good Health Saunas provide commercial-grade saunas for in-home and commercial use, backed by the best lifetime warranty in the industry. Unmatched customer service and the best financing makes owning one easy and will fit any budget. Go to goodhealthsauna.com/superhumanradio to learn more and save 25% off.
Quest Nutrition makes bars, cookies, chips, and pizzas out of complete dairy-based proteins. Our products minimize net carbs and sugar without sacrificing taste. Each delicious chocolate-flavored chip, cookie chunk, and crunchy crumble is custom made to maintain Quest macros. It's time to enjoy foods that work for you, not against you. It's time to enjoy your Quest.
If you suffer from digestive issues like gas, bloating, cramping, even when you're eating healthy, nutritious foods, then you could probably benefit from a high-quality enzyme. As you know, I'm a mega fan of Bioptimizers. They're one of the few supplement companies who I use religiously because their products work. I asked them for a great deal for my listeners, and they over-delivered. Right now, you can get a bottle of Masszyme for free. All you need to do is pay a small shipping fee, and there's no catch, no tricks, no forced continuity, nothing to cancel. They're so confident in their product that they offer a 365-day money-back guarantee. I'm positive you'll love the results. I strongly suggest you head over to their site to grab your free bottle before this offer runs out. Go to masszymes.com/SHR free. That's MASSZYMES.com/SHRFREE, all one word. You will automatically get access to your unique coupon code to claim your free bottle, and there's a limit, one per household. Chronic stress leaves us tired, distracted, and physically vulnerable. Apollo Neuro is here to help you take control. Apollo Neuro is a new wearable that trains your nervous system to be more resilient to stress. Apollo's gentle vibrations use your sense of touch to help you recover from stress, going from fight or flight to rest and digest so you can relax, get to sleep, focus, and stay healthy. Developed by physicians and neuroscientists, Apollo Neuro has been tested in multiple clinical trials and is proven to improve heart rate variability, the key biometric of stress. Special offer for friends of Superhuman Radio. Try Apollo Neuro today and get 15% off your purchase at apolloneuro.com/superhuman. That's APOLLONEURO.com/superhuman. Whether your goal is to build muscle or burn fat, you'll find everything you need at Redcon One. Need help getting a good night's sleep? Try Fade Out, or the most popular pre-workout supplement on the market today, Total War. Sign up for their new Transformation Challenge and win $10,000, or shop for apparel that people at the gym will know that you are serious about your training. Need a testosterone booster that works? Check out Boomstick. Whatever you need, you'll find the best quality supplements on the market at Redcon One. Go to redcon1.com. That's REDCON1.com, or go to superhumanradio.net and click the Redcon One banner ad today. You've heard me talk about the chill pill on the show and how effective it is at helping people who suffer from social anxiety, or sometimes when you just want to take the edge off to a long, stressful day. Well, listen to this story from Dylan Goutreau.
Definitely takes anxiety away, which I have a long history of having. Started out at 2 milligrams a day of Xanax. That was at 8 years old. And so I stopped using benzos 3 years ago. Extremely difficult. Yeah, so I spent about 3 years trying to find anything and everything I could that would be healthy for me to help with anxiety. Because I'm talking, full out panic attack. The chill pill was the first thing that I found that actually in the middle of a panic attack I can take, and it definitely subsides.
Go to drseeds.com. That's DRSEEDS.com. Use coupon code SHR and save 20% off your first bottle of the chill pill. Check it out. I promise this is one supplement that delivers.
Spit that out right now. This is the Superhuman Channel.
Welcome back. So it's funny. I never listen to anybody else's podcast. I don't, and I have never have. I remember Aaron Singerman, when we used to do Off Topic, used to get mad at me because I wouldn't listen to anybody else's podcast. But I do that because I don't want to be influenced by anyone. I don't want to not ask a question or ask a question a certain way because someone else did on their podcast. And I also always wanted to let my brain do the driving when I did an interview. But I love Ronnie Coleman. I don't know him. I've never met him. But he's inspired me like he's inspired lots of people. I remember back in the day when I was really getting big and strong, I would watch his, I guess it was the when he was in the 6th or 5th Olympia mode. And he did a video called The Unbelievable, I believe it was called. If I was going to train legs, I watched his leg day. If I was training shoulders, I watched his shoulder workout. If I was, and I used that, I would get upstairs, I'd have my pre-workout meal in my hand. I'd sit in front of the TV, fast forward to that part of the DVD, watch it, sometimes watch it again, sometimes watch it again. And he motivated so many of us to train hard. He left nothing for the ride home. He crushed his body every time. He's a true athlete in the true sense of the word. I believe that any sport he would have turned his eyes on, he would have been a dominating force. He chose bodybuilding. And he has been, to my knowledge, the biggest and the strongest. Although Johnny Jackson always says, well, he's the strongest pound for pound because he's smaller. And that's probably true. But I've never seen a bodybuilder 6 weeks out, completely carb depleted, do what Ronnie Coleman did back in the day, pulling deadlifts with 700 pounds for reps, front squatting 600 pounds for reps. He was amazing. Well, today he's fairly crippled. It's sad. He's had like 8 or 11 surgeries on his back. They fused just about every part of his spine, including up to his neck. He still trains every day. I can imagine it. I know how he feels. I mean, training, those of you who understand this statement know that the average person would say to Ronnie, why are you doing this to yourself? And he would probably say, I'm not doing anything to myself. I love this. This is what makes me feel good. Maybe you sitting home watching Wheel of Fortune makes you feel good. Me being in this gym and moving weight, however I can, whatever I can still do, makes me feel good. I'm sure that's what he would say, because there are those of us who we know how that feels. So I was listening to Joe Rogan the other day, just this one interview that someone sent me about Ronnie Coleman. And I didn't listen to the whole interview because it was a very long interview. And that's a lot of time for me to commit to. But I got to the part where they were talking about when he was competing. So Ronnie said a couple things, and they just were glossed over, but they weren't for me. They were like, wow, that's really interesting. So Ronnie told Joe, and of course I'm paraphrasing, that every year he would take off for 3 months after the Olympia. So he would take off the 3 months after the Olympia. He wouldn't train. He would eat. He would go on. I remember him and Hani Rambod used to go on cruises together with their girlfriends. They were always on cruises after the Olympia was over. But he would take off for 3 months. And then after that 3-month layover, he would get back into the gym. And Ronnie said something that I would have like, wait a minute. I want to be clear. And he'd say, and then it would start all over again. I would start from the beginning, he'd say. And Joe did follow up and say, yeah, you'd start all over again. He goes, oh yeah, I'd start from scratch. Now, what I interpreted that to mean is that Ronnie didn't go back into the gym after being off for 3 months and try to move 50% of the weight he was moving at his strongest just 3 months earlier. I interpret it as he goes back to when, Ronnie's a very simple guy. He uses simple words and he means what he says specifically. When he said, I start from scratch, I interpreted that as I go back in the gym and it's just like the first time I started training. I'm not going to try to squat 700 pounds. I'm not going to pull 600 pounds. I'm probably going to start out with 30% of the max weight I was using at that and just kind of ease into it. Because Ronnie is not a complex speaker. What he says is exactly what he means. Too often we read into things because we think, well, somebody must mean something else than that. And Joe said, do you always do it that way? He says, I always did. And then he said, except the one time I didn't, that's when I injured my back. And that's when they started to go back into the discussion about his back. So what I took away from this was that an 8-time Mr. Olympia, probably the strongest bodybuilder that we will ever see, really, and the most massive. Keep in mind that when Ronnie stepped on stage, he was under 1% body fat. He was, I think I read one time where he said he was 0.3% body fat. Think about that. 1/3 of 1% of body fat. I mean, that means no visceral fat. That means no subcutaneous fat. Just shredded, a shredded human being. And I think that the heaviest he was in one of his competitions was close to 290 pounds. Think about that. And he's only 5'11". He's not even quite 6 foot. And to be 290 pounds and less than 1% body fat, we're talking about freakish body composition, freakish. And all people, well, I use drugs. Look, I could give you all the drugs Ronnie took, and you could never do what he did. I'm sorry. So don't steal this man's thunder. But many of us are getting back into the gym, me included. You know, I'm literally, I've trained consistently now. This is my second week. I'm going to the gym after work today. I couldn't get into the gym in the morning. I couldn't motivate myself to get into the gym in the morning. I was okay. I got to do something different. So I do a little bit of cardio in the morning, maybe some farmer's walks if I feel adventurous, but I go to the gym after today's show. I'll go to the gym after I'm all done with my work here around 4:30 or so. But how many of us have the courage? And it takes courage. Think about this, right? Ronnie Coleman walks back into the gym after being off for 3 months. Just 3 months before, people see him front squatting 600 pounds. They're expecting to see Ronnie like doing something similar. And he picks up 25, 30-pound dumbbells and starts busting out dumbbell curls. They're like, come on, this guy curls 315 usually. Like, takes courage. And see, those of us who are strong, and I'm embellishing myself by saying that I'm part of that group, but those of us who are strong, we know how to actually move weight. We know what it feels like. We know how to enlist our bodies to move heavy weight. We're the ones that are at the most risk of hurting ourselves when we're getting back into the gym, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm 315, boom, I'm going to pull it, no problem. And oh, my back. So those of us who are strong, it takes a lot of courage to go into the gym and grab light weights for the first couple months and start easing back into things. But clearly Ronnie Coleman did that. And he's 8-time Mr. Olympia. He 290 pounds at less than 1% body fat, moved more weight than any bodybuilder I've ever seen. Don't forget, Dorian Yates and all those guys were strong, but none of them did what Ronnie did. And Ronnie was in a cutting phase. He wasn't even in his strongest. He was reducing calories, reducing carbohydrates, and doing what he was doing. And if he has the courage and the foresight to go, I'm not going to go back in that gym and try to do what I was doing 3 months ago. I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to start from the beginning. Those are the two terms he used. And I envision Ronnie going in and grabbing 25-pound dumbbells and just moving them around just to get everything back into motion. And that takes courage, because I know I'm one of those egotistical idiots. I've told this story before where I had just trained back. I had just deadlifted the day before, and I was deadlifting heavy at this point in my life. And all I had to do was cardio the next day. And I was up at Jeff Rui's Powerhouse Gym in the cardio wing, looking down, and a buddy of mine came in, and he's getting ready to deadlift. And I'm literally having to talk myself out of getting off the treadmill and going down there and deadlift with him again, because I know that I'm stronger than him and I want to pull with him. That's idiocy. That's ego. That lacks courage. It takes more courage to stay up on the treadmill and do what I'm supposed to do than try to go down there and show off. And if it's good enough for Ronnie Coleman to start from the beginning, it's good enough for you and me. So if you're just getting back into the gym, whatever you plan on going there and doing, cut it back by 50%. You're not gonna be doing that a month from now, but just do it for now. Because at the end of the day, if the strongest, biggest, most successful bodybuilder of all time, and I know there's, I think did Arnold win more Olympias than Ronnie? I don't know. Arnold was never as big as Ronnie. Never, never, ever, ever. But for a guy like Ronnie Coleman to recognize that he has to start from the beginning, he has to start from scratch, and to have the courage to go into the gym and move light weight around, and people probably looking at him and going, what the hell? I thought this guy was big and strong. Like, what's he doing with those little dumbbells? What's he doing with the 135 pounds on that bar, an incline bench press? They didn't understand that Ronnie knew he would be back to his strong Ronnie again. He wasn't willing to damage himself. And the one time he didn't do that is when he busted his disc in his lower spine, and that led to every other back injury. I could hear the remorse in his voice when he said to Joe, when Joe said, do you always do that? He said, yeah. He goes, well, except the one time when I injured my back. So if you're getting back into the gym for the first time in a long time, and especially if you have always been strong, have the courage to go into the gym and do what's good for you. Have the courage to go into the gym and start from scratch. Have the courage to go into the gym and use the weights that you used a year or two ago before you got as strong as you are right before this layoff. Do not go into the gym and expect to start with 50 or 75% of the weight that you were moving before this layoff. If it's good enough for Ronnie Coleman, it's good enough for you. That's all I've got for today. So tomorrow, I'm off the air. I'm actually going to meet the folks at, I want to say it's Wild. Here, I'll tell you what it is. I'm going to, there's a castle in Lexington, Kentucky. Wild Health. There's a group of doctors out there that have a facility that's an actual castle, and it's called the Wild Health Facility in Lexington, Kentucky. And I'm going there to meet them tomorrow because they're doing some amazing farm to table type stuff and using good food as treatment for patients. And Elisa and I are going to sit down with them and just kind of brainstorm a little bit. And I'm sure that'll end up becoming a show in the near future. It's a great weekend. I'm going to have a few drinks this weekend because I've got DHM already. If you don't have DHM already, you need to get it. I'm going to plug this one last time. I promise you, you will thank me. Go to the link shrnetwork.biz, shrnetwork.biz/DHM. Use the code SHR10. For a limited time, you'll get 20% off. Feel free to shop around, but definitely get yourself a bottle of DHM. Keep it in your house. But when you do drink or when friends come over and drink, you let them have one before they drink. Let them have one as they go home. They will call you and thank you. They'll say, I can't believe it. I drank so much and I feel great. You'll be a hero, a magician. But keep it in the house for when you feel like having a drink so that the alcohol doesn't derail your progress. Okay. We'll see everybody Monday with more Superhuman Radio. Thank you so much for listening today and watching. And please, please, please share the show. Please share the show. Please share the show. Thank you.